Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Michael Lopez, and this is Boulevard Connect, your only website dedicated to cars, culture, and community. And every so often, I love to get a little bit of each, but today we got somebody on Boulevard Connect that deals with all things cars, culture, and community. Miss Lorraine Quinones, how are you? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you. Getting over a cold,
Getting over
uh,
cold?
but doing better. Yes.
Good. I'm glad you're doing better. I love that smile. It's good. It's good. It's a beautiful smile on a Saturday morning. So, Lorraine, let's get right into it. Okay. I want your background. You're a teacher. You're from
Yeah.
Orange County. You came to LA in 2003. You're a solo writer with your husband. You're a mother. You're an educator. Uh, how was low riding introduced to you? What was your earliest memory?
Earliest memory of low riding has got to be like the movies.
Really?
Seeing it on TV. Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't grow up with. Well, actually, you know what? It would have to be my grandfather, my dad's dad. He always had old cars, so we
Mm-hmm.
were always at my grandma's house. And my grandfather was always working on cars. So he had an Impala project in the back. Never got to see him drive it. He always had Camaros, IROX, he had a El Ranchero. So that
Yeah.
would actually be my earliest memory of, classics in the yard,
Yeah.
But my grandfather was always working on them, and we didn't really get to get out there and enjoy them much, just kind of see him working on them and drive. He would drive off in one every now and then. So that would be the earliest one before the movies.
Really? Okay. Okay. Any movies that stick out to you that were like, oh wait, I remember that.
Oh, like all the, American Me, Blood In, Blood Out, seeing some classics on La Bamba.
Yeah.
In Greece was like one of my
Oh my.
favorite kids movies.
Yes.
Everybody was in love with La Bamba and Richie Valens and,
Yes.
so John Travolta. So seeing all the classics there just like blew my mind. It was like, I want one of those one day. And I want
Yeah.
one of those guys.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then I got my husband who was all into classics.
Nice. So you married into it. That's awesome. You know, it's
Yes.
funny. I was watching Born in East LA 2 weeks ago, and the scene where the cars and they're in East Los and the cars going up and down with the girl in the green skirt is walking by. I think
Yeah.
that was my earliest memory in San Francisco of seeing a lowrider with the hydraulics.
Okay, yeah, that movie too. I mean, there's so many that, Boulevard Nights,
Yes.
that American Graffiti,
Yes.
so all the movies played a big, factor in kind of like dreaming about it and having one day.
Yes, I know. Don't we all? I mean, I remember buying the lowrider magazines when I was a kid and just reading them over and over and over again and circling the rims that I was going to get, which I never did. So, you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah. So we've always loved cars, and that's kind of like, my first introductions to them. But really fighting the ban and seeing the unjust law, which I
Yeah.
believe violated our civil rights here where we live in East LA, that's what really tapped us into to the movement of repealing the ordinance. Just because my husband and I wanted to enjoy our 1957
Yeah.
Chevrolet Bel Air, and we felt like we were being criminalized for it.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up because that's the perfect segue into this because this is why we want, we know what you've done. It was what? Bill 436 and ACR 176, correct?
Yes, AB 436 was the bill. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Or
And you were one of you kind of spearheaded this movement, correct?
I spearheaded it here in East LA. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
was talking about the ban.
Mm-hmm.
And before ACR 176 even came to play by council member Luz Rivas out of the
Yes.
San
San
Fernando,
Fernando.
yeah, area, before she even had that, I had started a change.org petition
Mm-hmm.
for Whittier Boulevard to repeal the ordinance locally. I wanted to get feedback from the community and see if that was something that they also felt the same way, because my husband and I, we were not in a car club. We were not any kind of like involved with low riding. We were, not going we just cruised the boulevard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I was like, I need to find out like what people feel about it. And I'm going to pass this petition around and use social media.
You know what? That's what I find interesting is that you weren't part of a car club. I mean, you were in the scene. You know, you were solo riders. You were just as a family going out and cruising in your in your in the love for your car and stuff like that in Whittier Boulevard.
Right.
Now, most people, most people want to do something to change something, but not like I said, 99% of the people don't really do it. You are the part of the 1% that says, "I'm going to do something." And you started to change it. I understand that you actually went around and asked people's permission or because you didn't know whether you should or shouldn't. Is that correct?
Yeah, I didn't want to, like, I think respect is a big deal,
Yeah, absolutely.
especially when, you're not quote unquote in that scene, you know?
Mhm.
So out of respect, I wanted to, ask around. Is anybody talking about this? Are you guys aware there's an ordinance on Whittier Boulevard? Like, has anybody wanted to fight against it? And I learned about some people who had tried to in the past, but it kind of went nowhere. They tried, and so I said, "Well, it's been a while. Nobody's trying now, and so I'm gonna give it another shot, and use the change.org petition and see what to do." But it's because I am a community activist at heart. Uh,
Yeah.
a union chapter chair and representative at my school site.
Mhm.
And for me, social justice is a big deal. Civil
Absolutely.
rights, as an educator,
Absolutely.
you want to make an impact in the future, a positive one. You want to be a problem solver
Mhm.
and, turn things around for the good. And, I felt like, you know, if our ancestors or the people who came before us here in East Los did something for us, I'm Chicana, and this is like Chicano moratorium anniversary this week. It's like they paved the way for us.
Absolutely.
We can do is do something for our community as well. And so my husband and I, we agreed on it. We said, let's do this. He's like, are you sure? Because it was,
Because it's a whole other job too.
yeah, it is. And it still is today. So I called around. I called people and I started doing my research. I got in contact with people in Sacramento who were doing the same thing. I
Great.
contact with people in National City doing the same thing. And then I was asking people in LA, are you talking about this? Like presidents of car clubs, of councils, like the Los Angeles lowrider community. And nobody was talking about it. And they all gave me their blessing. They're like, you know what? Nobody's talking about it.
Go for it, huh?
Everybody's against it, but nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to do anything
Exactly.
because
And it goes back to
people have
saying, like,
stuff in the past, but it's gone nowhere. I was like,
yeah.
oh, now it's my turn. They tried, they did what they could do at the time, and we did it, and we did it at the perfect time.
So yeah, exactly. And that's my question. So many people before you tried. What was it about what you did that made a difference? Was there a specific moment in time? Was there a specific person? Was it a situation where okay, now we can do something different? What was it? Do
I
you
think
know?
just I kept saying the stars were aligning because there was people across California doing the same thing, like I said. So when I started digging and doing my research online, I ran into Carlos Rodriguez in Sacramento.
Yes.
He's the president of the Northern California Dukes president.
Yeah.
And so they were doing that over there in Sacramento. And so there was influential key people with that same heart to go out and do something for their community. We were all doing it at the same time in our respective area. So it was beautiful. It was just like it was the right time to be somebody to
Strength,
fight for lowrider rights.
strength in numbers, correct?
Yes, exactly. There's
Strength in numbers.
power in numbers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's great. So you guys all hooked up, say, I'm doing it, you're doing it. Anybody else doing it?
Yeah, you know what? I called and I said, "What are you doing? Like, how did you get, they hadn't even done it yet at the time I was talking to him. They were getting media attention and getting people on board, getting council members involved. And so I was just asking them for tips. Called Jovita Riano,
Yeah.
National City, United Lowrider Coalition. And I asked all of them, tell me what you're doing. I need to do it here in East LA. And so they would just say, we did this, we did that. And we formed the California Lowrider Alliance, shortly after. We all saw we were making an impact and getting a lot of support. And then we started talking to our council members. And so it was just perfect timing. And we all hooked up, like you said, formed a little California Lowrider Alliance to help each other out. and
Nice.
would check in with each other and highlight what we were all doing in our areas. And boom, it just worked, you know? And then we got Luz Rivas, who was like our saving grace
Yeah.
because she was our voice and helped put it out there at the state level.
Hmm.
And so she really, without her and also San Fernando Truck and Club Council, they were working with Luz Rivas because they're in the same area.
Okay.
So they built that ACR 176, wrote that together. And all these things really just all happened simultaneously. And that's what we were able to, that's how we were able to do it. The
Yeah.
stars
Yeah.
were aligning for us as Chicanos and, lowrider, lowriders out there,
Yeah.
making a positive impact.
Now we all know the history of this band. It was pretty much racially profiled. That's basically where it came from, right? Because they didn't want us to assemble. They thought it was all about trouble. And back in the day, I could see why. Back in the day, it was a little bit of a more of a problematic and a little bit of trouble here and there. But things have obviously changed. And now that the ban has been lifted, I'm hearing different things. Have things changed? Because I'm still hearing about stories of police harassing car clubs and solo riders. I mean, how does the lowrider community avoid this trouble, even though the ban has been lifted? What do you see? What do you hear?
Yeah, that is very true, especially in areas like East LA. The East LA Sheriff's Department are tyrants.
Mm,
um, if we're all out there in numbers, they're sure to show up. So we always have to look out for each other and make sure we're just, being very mindful
yeah,
of the laws. The traffic laws still exist,
yeah,
so
yeah, exactly.
we all need to still make sure we're, good as far as all the regular traffic laws go. And, we just make sure to spread the word and say everybody to just, abide by the laws, because all those still exist. We just repealed cruising. So you can
Yeah.
cruise up and down as many times and not get cited. And you can have your ride as low as you want. That's about it. So
Exactly. And that's what I wanted to ask you. Like, what can you do now versus before? And what can't you do?
yeah, so just those two things. Before here in East LA, you could not pass more than 2 times within a 6-hour period. Otherwise, they can cite you for cruising. Those citations never even really happened. They were just used as an excuse to harass people.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is what got repealed. In other areas, it might be no more than, 4 times, or the number of hours were different. But that's what it was here. And so you can go up and down and not have to worry about being pulled over for cruising. And you can have your car lowered, because before, if your car was lower than the wheel well, you can get a citation.
Yeah, yeah.
Front bumper was lower than that. So those are the only two things that now are not against the law. And so we remind people, to do their best not to, hit the switches while in motion, you know, filling, don't park in the red, the bus, don't block the bus stops.
Now
Mm,
I could understand don't block the bus stop and don't park in the red, but hitting the switches, damn, it's just something about the, you
I
know?
know, you know what? We just remind, and I'm like, I'm all for hitting switches and stuff. Of course, you do want to be safe, check around. Ball joints can pop,
Yeah.
flying, So, but the people know what they're doing, but we tell them they will here in East LA, they will. If they catch you doing that, they will not hesitate to pull you over, and they'll tow your ride,
Hmm.
you know? And so I hate to have people catch a case. So I just
Yeah.
tell them, please look around, like check your rear view, check your side mirror, check it 3 times,
Yeah.
because that is still against the law. But we're hoping that, you know, AB 436 was the first step as lowriders. If lowriders can see the power and the change we can make, we can pursue other laws. If we
Absolutely.
feel like, hey, modifying your car and hitting switches is something that is also part of the lowrider culture, what can we do to change that law? Make changes to it so that people are not criminalized for that,
Yeah.
and make space for it.
Mhm.
So that's what we do, because we do have to warn people, because unfortunately, we know the law does not change the way we are policed.
Yeah,
The,
exactly.
the law enforcement, there's a lot of work to do. It's still an institution with a lot of, toxicity, and they need a lot of help on how to be culturally sensitive and to build relationships with the community. And so that's what I kind of say as I come in contact with our sheriffs here in the area, like,
Yeah.
hey, talk to the people,
Absolutely.
engage with the community,
Absolutely.
give them a warning, just give them a heads up. Hey, look around here. We're not going to tolerate that. You go, if I see it again, so that's what I've mentioned to some of the East LA sheriffs when we're out here cruising and
Yes.
catch them, pulling somebody over, or they've actually rolled alongside me one day after an incident on a previous weekend. And I told them, hey, you guys show up and you aggravate the people.
Yeah.
They escalate. We're all
Absolutely.
good, and they
Yeah.
show up full force, and they just trigger,
I, you know,
people.
absolutely. I think the police department really does need to bridge that gap because unfortunately there is a stigma against the cops in the lowrider community, and I think they should really start coming out into the community and being part of the community, not policing the community. Hey, turn a cop car into a lowrider, bring it out, show the community that you're with them and that you're not there to harass, but you're there to just enforce the laws. Everybody stay safe. I wish there was somebody in the police department that would actually do things like that, or say we need to make a change with the community, because that's basically what they're supposed to do. They're peace
Right,
officers.
right.
They're not
And
state police.
they do work, not East LA sheriffs, but there's other departments that work with certain car clubs and areas like Mission District over there in the 818 area. I know they have a good relationship, and certain areas do. That's the only one I see where they can actually cruise and they don't get harassed. They have a good rapport out there. However, some out here in more this side of town, they'll be okay if we're at a car show just parked.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
oh, we're doing Toys for Tots, support this or that. And it's like, okay, cool. You're okay with us if we're just parked,
Yeah.
And stagnant, we're in a box. But if we're cruising the boulevard, I mean, that's the authenticity of cruising.
Absolutely. It's part of the culture. Yeah.
And low riding is in the streets. So that's what
It's
we're
called cruising, not parking.
exactly. That's what we're always saying. It's like, yeah, park a little bit. We park a little bit. We'll go buy some tacos. We'll go to the store, support the business,
Yeah.
say what's up to the friends, check out the rides. But then we get ansias. We want to get back in the ride, and then we want to cruise up and down again. Or we take our friend for a ride. We found so many people, it's their birthday or so and so's first time on the boulevard. Or I've never rode in a lowrider. We're like, come in the ride. Let's go for a cruise.
Yeah.
Let Sweet Dreams, our ride is her name, Sweet Dreams, she makes dreams come true. So there's been plenty of times where someone's told us, they're mourning the loss of their loved one.
Mm-hmm.
And so we invite them to go for a cruise because that's what cruising does. It brings joy.
Brings joy.
And you feel that it's part of mental health. And so when you're in cruising, you forget all your problems when you're
Absolutely.
whether even if it's in a daily.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
about being in a lowrider and cruising and classics and bumping the music.
Yeah.
It's just like it's nostalgia, it takes you back in time.
It's a great feeling. Now, we talked about what the cops can do. What do you think the lowrider community should be doing? Because look, the community does have to come together and say, hey, we need to police our own in a way so the cops don't have to do it. We need to take charge and keep an eye on the bigger picture. We don't want this ban to come back, obviously. I mean, what needs to happen? Do the OGs or the car clubs, do they need to put on lowrider, lowrider community peace, security to keep the younger people at bay? I mean, what do we need to do as a community to keep that ban from coming back?
Yeah, they do need, like, the car clubs. Obviously, there's a lot of them, and they have, presidents and influential OGs, right? So they definitely need to continue to talk about, the expectations, lowrider etiquette,
Yeah,
I call
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
And so when we make sometimes where there is a cruise and there's a flyer, people will put on there like respect the boulevard, pick up the
Absolutely.
trash. I mean, but that's kind of gone
Uh-oh, we lost you.
like I mean, everybody just puts, I think you have to actively be out. Oh, shoot. See, I lost. Now, hold on. Now you got me back?
Yeah, I got you back. Give me that 10 seconds back.
Okay. Yeah, so they just need to, they actually need to be active. So saying it and putting it on a flyer is one thing,
Exactly.
but being out there and being an example takes it to a whole nother level. So they need to be active out there cruising and showing what does it look like,
Yes.
and just be there. And you don't even have to say it, but just like showing people what does responsible cruising look like.
Yes.
Like last night we were on Whittier Boulevard, and I think even small businesses doing their part, like Lolo Streetwear had a little thing supporting photography and low riding.
I saw that. It was actually on Boulevard Connect. Somebody posted that on Boulevard
I saw
Connect.
you. Yeah, I saw you sharing it. And so we had a good time, and the sheriffs rolled by, but if it's not jam packed, we're
Yeah.
usually okay. And as long as people keep their asses out of the street, like pedestrians, because sometimes pedestrians end up in the street taking photos, or they're out there dancing in the street.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
And
what
it's
the
like,
trouble. Yeah. It's like,
you
come
got
on, bring it
to
in. Let's keep
stay
it
on the
safe.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
Safety is, we don't want to see anybody get hurt. And so it was cool that they didn't quote unquote shut it down, which they usually do. But since everybody remained on the sidewalks and there wasn't a lot of people in the street, and I mean, we had a little hopping out there, but it was like, subtle,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and respectfully. If you see a sheriff coming, don't go and hit your switch.
Yeah. Exactly.
Don't test. We don't need people testing law enforcement, because
Exactly.
it only harms all of us and ruins
Exactly. It
all
will
of us.
harm the community, and it will bring that bad taste into the police eyes in their mouth. Now,
Yeah.
I heard a story about how there was an incident on Whittier Boulevard, and you were wondering, should I go get my vest, and go over and talk to them? What vest is this?
Oh, let me show you. I actually showed the sheriffs and too. They know. I told them, this is one way how you be positive. This is my word. Oh, let me turn off my
Oh, there it is. Respect the spot. Is that what it is?
respect, honor, protect. I got to turn off that.
I think a lot more OGs in the car clubs that are out on the boulevard should wear those, because I think if something goes down, I think we all need a person to be like, all right, where's the guy with the vest? You know what I'm saying? I think that would actually bring a lot of kind of like a certain level of respect. Oh, dude's
Do
in
you
the
see
vest
it?
there. We got to be careful here.
I had it in my pocket.
Can you see it?
Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. So I make it so people can find me,
Uh-huh.
even the sheriffs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because there has to be a point person.
This is how you do it. You don't walk
Yeah,
around in a uniform just like pulling people over and citing
exactly.
them and harassing. Like, go out there, and I'm on foot. They don't, I'm on foot walking around. My husband and I are friends, and I'm like, how you guys doing? Like, hey, keep that, sometimes I'll be like, keep that on the low, keep that on the down low.
Yeah.
And then or we'll say, hey, you're like in the street, do you mind like just coming on the side? And it's about approach.
Yeah, it is. It's all about approach. It's
It's
all
all
about
so
tone.
I really like, or I'll talk to the friends if I notice like somebody might be, maybe not feeling it, or I'm not too sure if I should approach them, and I see their friends, say, hey, remind your friend to like come dance over here on the sidewalk instead of over there in the crosswalk,
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So that's what I use this for. And I'll do it more so if like I initiate a cruise.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody else initiated a cruise and they don't really like communicate it with me on Whittier Boulevard, I'm not really going to stick my neck out on the line. But if you hit me up and you want to make me a part of it, and I can see like it's about community, culture, and respect, I'll be more than happy to go out there and support and help out with this.
I'll be honest with you. I think more people that throw cruises, there should be a couple of point people with those type of vests and also lets the cops know, okay, there's somebody here that's kind of policing, not policing, but kind of
well,
keeping things legal.
That's what a lot of the OGs have said. And when I talk to people out in Sacramento and all that stuff, we're working to repeal the ban. They would say the same thing, is like we want to self police.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want to be the police. Please don't. I don't want to say like self police and I want to be a police, because that's the last thing I want. I want people to have a good time, and really we're just out there I want everybody to be safe and have a good time. and for
Absolutely.
cruising to go on without any problems. And like you said, not have that ban or anything else, any or ordinance come to play because, they want to pinpoint one bad thing, when
You
there's
know,
like 100 good things happening.
yeah. Really quick, and I just want to touch upon this really quick. And I watch these videos, these street takeovers. What do you think about these street takeovers by the younger generation? I mean, do you think these type of activities kind of throw shade on the lowrider community, or does the local officials know the difference between this is not the lowrider community? Because these takeovers are really dangerous. They cause a lot of mayhem, and all these younger kids are just acting, they're wilding out and stuff like that. Do you think that will affect the lowrider community? Uh-oh, did I lose you? Oh, there
No,
you
I had to press mute for a
are. Okay.
second. The street takeovers, they do throw shade when they come to areas like Whittier Boulevard.
Oh, really?
There was one that happened not that long ago, and I went to a county meeting and they brought up that scene. And in the report that the report back people who were in charge have, they actually included the word cruising
Ugh.
in the new, what I don't know if they're trying to develop a new ordinance for street takeovers and street racing, but that's why I showed up at that county meeting to make sure that that word cruising and cruising clubs in the
Yeah.
report back get revised and
Yeah.
needed out because it's not the same thing, and they do lump us all together. It's a loophole.
That's what I'm afraid of. That's what I think the community should be afraid of, is that you should not be able to put those in the same category. They're obviously two different things.
Yeah, and I think local officials know the difference, but they like to play stupid, and
Yeah.
they're using that as a loophole to get us, since we made progress on the bill. And even if we didn't make progress, it would just still be another way to to get us in the ass,
So
Sure.
la lucha sigue, see?
Yep, always, always.
Always.
But we showed up to say that at the county. But I do have a friend, I do want to say, Donald out in the harbor area. He, it's about how do we um be problem solvers, 21st century problem solving.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants to create a street racing track,
Mhm.
create one out there. He has a whole plan. He was on the task force. He's a community member, and he actually has lowriders too and fast cars. So he said, let's make a racetrack
Yeah, there needs to be a place where
for
these kids can go
people
to. Yeah.
street racing. So he's actually working on that, and the county, he's involved with that. So he showed up at that same meeting. He's, all about low riding, but he loves to race cars too.
Okay.
But he tells them, hey, well, then create a racetrack for people to go to, one that's affordable, one that, that's run by us, the community members,
Absolutely.
with some resources from the surrounding area where people go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I think there's a way for all of us to have space
Exactly.
if we just get the proper resources and support to do so.
Yeah.
And the community members and the people using their voice and taking action together, because nothing is going to happen if everybody just keeps talking, but nobody goes and does the work, because it is
Absolutely.
a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Donald was there at the county meeting. We were there for like 8 hours waiting just to make public comment. The system is corrupt. And so
Absolutely.
it's not going to be easy.
It's set up for you to fail. It's set up for the community to fail, honestly.
Exactly. And only the strong survive, and our people did it before us, like Chicano moratorium, all our zoot suitors, right?
Yeah.
Our pachucos, they went, and shit wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't.
And so we got to be out there and we got to fight, and we can't cry about the process. You just got to do the work, and there's always going to come, and they're still going to throw shade at us after. They're still going to make problems after.
Yeah.
But we're resilient, and you have to keep fighting, and you can't give up.
I like how you just brought up it's not easy. It's a lot of hard work. Now, if you can go back to when you first started this crusade, what would you do different? What were some of the mistakes you made? What did you learn from really quick? And
I'm trying to think. I saw that question. I was trying to reflect on what would I do different. I maybe would have started my own alliance here sooner. I joined an alliance here that we all kind of got on board together, but it didn't work out.
Okay.
And but at the same time, I'm such a busy person as a wife, a mom, an educator. Teaching life is a lot of work.
It is
It's a
teaching
lot of
life. I like how you said that teaching life is a lot of work.
life. I mean, that's how I got sick, going back to school with all the kids, getting used to the germs
Yeah.
again, and like lesson planning, all that. Like, I don't need to run an alliance is a lot of work,
Yeah.
a lot of correspondence. And I do that now. So
Mhm.
I'm still doing that with the county supervisors. I'm holding them accountable for our cruising plan that we created before AB 436 passed. We're behind. Hilda Solis made a motion, probably just to please my ass, but she's lagging late on 2 meetings. And I've been calling them out like, hey, your silence speaks volumes, Hilda Solis. Where's the plan? Contacting the LA County Department of Public Works because she appointed them since, it's traffic.
Yeah. She was
And
like, somebody else deal with this.
exactly. Oh, in the AB 436 pass, they want to be like, oh, the state did it, we're local.
What's her name again?
Supervisor Hilda Solis, District 1.
District 1. All right, Hilda.
East LA.
We're going to start making some phone calls.
Yeah, let her know where's the cruising plan, and you better listen to Lorraine when she hits you up. Cruising's not a crime.
Absolutely.
We want follow up.
Exactly.
She keeps denying. She treats Whittier Boulevard and this area as the quote unquote stepchild. They say.
There you go. There you go. When it's not the stepchild, it's the originator.
Yeah. So that's what we said. It's the fountainhead of lowrider culture.
Yeah.
He stated that
it's not the stepchild.
ACR 176.
I saw that when I read it. So yeah, I saw that. It's amazing that. So the crusade is not over though, right?
No.
For you, it's gonna continue. But I mean, is there a next step for Lorraine Quinones? I mean, you found out a little bit how Sacramento works, local politics work. Is there a city council assembly person, in the works for you? What's going on? Because obviously you're good at what you're doing.
Yes, so that is my next plan, is holding the District 1 supervisor accountable for the cruising plan, because it's sad. We repealed the ordinance and people are still scared to come to the boulevard because we have to deal with the tyrants, East LA sheriffs.
Yeah.
And that's not cool, People should feel welcome and safe in a community. They should feel like they belong and that they can come and they don't have to worry about having their night messed up. And so I'm holding her accountable for that plan to come to fruition so that we can try it. Like, we got to try it. We got to work out the kinks. We got to figure this shit out, So I'm holding her accountable to get that plan done so we can see what that would look like and try it out and make adjustments as needed. And I'm also holding LA County Department of Public Works. I mean, we're emailing, I'm calling them. And so I called and complained about them, and sure enough, they gave me a call, but it's the 3-day weekend now, so I got to wait for this week. So that's next steps, is making sure that cruising plan comes to fruition and to fulfill your duties, Hilda.
And Lorraine, if she doesn't fulfill her duties, I say you go and run and you take her seat.
Yeah, so my husband keeps saying,
there you go.
Win in a heartbeat. She's done in 2026, I think December.
Well, start the campaign. This is your official announcement. There you go, Lorraine. You got my vote, okay? Because I could tell you're a mom, you're an educator, you care about your community, you care about the culture, and I love that about you. You have a fire in your voice, you have a fire in your heart, and I completely support what you're doing. I think what you're doing is wonderful.
Thank you so much.
I am so happy and honored to have you on Blvd Connect. Thank you so much for coming on. Because I know we all knew about the ban. Now that it's been lifted, I really want to talk about what now. And I think you answered a lot of our questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, and people need to keep cruising. Like,
absolutely.
Don't scare. I'm on Whittier Boulevard, my husband and I, every Sunday. You do not let them scare us and intimidate us out of our communities. So show up and show out. If you ain't doing anything wrong, then we have nothing to hide.
There you go.
And keep cruising Whittier Boulevard in East Los and cruise your surrounding boulevard. Don't just do only car shows. I love them too. More power to them. We go to some too. They have great causes, but people need to also be cruising in the streets and let the community see us. These are people that don't always go to car shows in the community, and
Yeah.
don't let them intimidate us. So show up and show out and cruise the boulevard.
And really quick, let's end it with this. What's your website information? So if people want more information on Cruising Is Not a Crime, where do they go?
The best way to contact me would be through Instagram, or to follow the work is through Instagram. So I'm Laney Vibes, LANEE_vibes, VIBES. And that's the best way. Follow the work on Laney Vibes.
And I will certainly be following your work because I'm expecting a lot of good things from you, especially in 2026. So,
All right,
ladies and gentlemen,
you.
my name is Mike Lopez. This is Lorraine Quinones. Thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed the show and we hope you learned something. Okay, so this is Mike Lopez, Blvd Connect, the only website dedicated to the cars, culture, and community. Thank you guys so much
All right.
for listening.
Adelante.